When George Harrison stepped out of the shadow of the Beatles, the music world witnessed something rare. A so-called supporting member of the greatest band of all time suddenly erupted as a fully formed artist, mature, spiritual, and deeply personal. Throughout the 1960s, Harrison was known as the junior partner in the Lennon-McCartney juggernaut. Song quotas on Beatles albums often limited his space, even though the quality of his work, from Something to Here Comes the Sun, was every bit their equal. Of the roughly 22 songs he contributed to the Beatles' catalog, many are now regarded as pop classics. Yet those limitations concealed a creative time bomb. When the Beatles officially disbanded in 1970, Harrison was not merely ready, he was overflowing. Dozens of songs, spiritual reflections, and musical ideas were waiting to be released. The result was one of the most impressive solo transitions in popular music history. Below are George Harrison's 10 best solo songs, 9 true solo recordings, and 1 collaborative masterpiece that not only showcase his genius, but also map his inner and artistic journey after the Beatles. Number 10. If Not For You, 1970.
If not for you, babe, I couldn't even find.
Among all of George Harrison's early solo work, If Not For You feels like his most human transition point. The song does not sound like a grand statement, a spiritual manifesto, or a declaration of independence. Rather, it is a simple confession of emotional dependence and gratitude. Harrison recorded the song at a time when the world still viewed him as the third Beatle, while he himself was learning how to become a whole individual. His version is gentle, almost pastoral, with understated production, strikingly different from the grandeur of many other tracks on All Things Must Pass. The choice feels intentional. Harrison wanted to emphasize warmth, not spectacle. The song's meaning deepens further when read as a metaphor for post-Beatles freedom. If Not For You could refer to a lover, a friend, or even music itself, the one thing that kept his life feeling real after the loss of the band structure that had shaped him. Number 9. What Is Life, 1970. What Is Life is a declaration that George Harrison could compete in the realm of big pop and do so convincingly. Packed with layered guitars, bold brass sections, and an almost soul-like groove, the song marks his willingness to step outside the shadow of his own spiritual seriousness. Lyrically, the song thrives on productive ambiguity. Harrison never explicitly clarifies whether the love he sings about is romantic or divine. This openness becomes its strength, allowing listeners across generations and backgrounds to interpret it through their own experiences. From a pop historical perspective, What Is Life represents the moment when Harrison stopped being seen merely as a spiritual experimenter and began to be understood as a world-class pop songwriter with a distinct identity. Number 8. I'd Have You Any Time, 1970.
Let me in here. I know I've been here.
As the opening track of All Things Must Pass, I'd Have You Any Time functions as a gateway into Harrison's inner world. There is no bombastic introduction, no grand declaration, only a gentle voice asking permission. Let me into your heart. The song was written at the end of the Beatles era, when relationships within the band were fracturing and public pressure felt unbearable. In that context, it sounds like a longing for a safe space, emotionally and creatively. Structurally, the song is simple, almost bare. Yet it is precisely that simplicity that makes it feel sincere. This is Harrison speaking without a mask, without Beatle mythology, without public expectation. Number 7. Got My Mind Set on You, 1987.
Got my mind set on you, but it's gonna take money.
The success of this song is often labeled an anomaly, yet it perfectly reflects Harrison's intelligence. He understood that not every statement needed to be personal or spiritual. Sometimes music could simply be honest, joyful entertainment. With its bright arrangement and iconic video, the song bridged old and new generations. For many MTV-era listeners, this was their first introduction to George Harrison, not as a Beatle, but as a relevant pop artist in his own right. Number 6. When We Was Fab, 1987.
Back then, long time ago, when grass was green.
But what about the Beatles? A question that haunted Harrison throughout his life. When We Was Fab is his most mature answer. Rather than rejecting the past or glorifying it excessively, Harrison chose a middle path, self-aware nostalgia. The song is filled with internal references, both musical and lyrical, yet delivered with a reflective, slightly ironic tone. This is not a song about triumph, but about time, how it reshapes meaning, memory, and identity for someone who once stood at the center of the world.
Number 5. Give Me Love, Give Me Peace on Earth, 1973.
Love, give me peace on earth, give me light, give.
If My Sweet Lord is a prayer full of fervor, then Give Me Love is the prayer of someone who is tired. There is no euphoria, only a simple plea for inner peace. Harrison wrote the song amid growing fame, business conflicts, and spiritual pressure. It reflects the paradox of his life, worldly success paired with a relentless search for internal calm. Its chart success proved an important point. Emotional honesty could compete with glamour and bombast, even at the peak of the global music industry. Number 4. Beware of Darkness, 1970.
Watch out now, take up your word.
Beware of Darkness represents George Harrison at his most alert and incisive. While many songs on All Things Must Pass speak of love and faith, this one warns of danger, of ego, anger, greed, and false spirituality lurking behind power and fame. Musically, the song moves slowly and cautiously, as if Harrison is careful not to distract from the lyrical message. He does not preach or judge. He speaks as someone who has seen the dark side of the music industry up close and understands how easily people lose their way when they believe themselves to be right. In the optimistic post-hippie landscape of the early 1970s, Beware of Darkness felt almost uncomfortable. Yet that discomfort is precisely why it endures. The song is not bound to its era. It feels increasingly relevant as the world grows louder with ideology, ambition, and claims of absolute truth. Number 3. All Things Must Pass, 1970.
All things must pass.
All Things Must Pass is the philosophical core of George Harrison's solo journey. The song was not written as a spontaneous reaction to the Beatles' breakup, but as the result of long reflection that began in the late 1960s when Harrison came to understand that success, conflict, and suffering share one truth: all are temporary. Written while he was still part of the biggest band in the world, the song only found its full meaning after everything collapsed. With a simple melody and nearly meditative chord progression, Harrison delivers a calm yet profound message. Change is not a tragedy, but a law of nature. In the post-Beatles context, All Things Must Pass feels like an unofficial epilogue, not a dramatic farewell, but a mature release. Number 2. Isn't It a Pity, 1970.
Isn't it a pity?
Isn't It a Pity is an old wound finally allowed to speak. The song had been written years before the Beatles' breakup, yet was repeatedly rejected, a fact that adds emotional weight to every note. Thematically, it is an elegy about humanity's failure to understand and love one another. Harrison does not point fingers, yet the sense of loss he conveys is so broad that it feels universal. Many interpret the song as a reflection on the Beatles' internal fractures, but its power lies in transcending that context. With its long duration and hypnotic repetition, the song gives emotion room to unfold naturally. Harrison does not rush, he allows the sadness to breathe. The result is one of the most devastating songs ever written by any former Beatle. Quiet, mature, and striking directly at the center of the soul. Number 1. My Sweet Lord, 1970.
My sweet Lord, my Lord.
My Sweet Lord is the gravitational center of George Harrison's solo career. His decision to merge Hindu mantra with Western pop structure was radical for its time. The song was not merely a hit, it was a cultural, spiritual, and musical bridge. Legal controversy may have followed it, but history has placed My Sweet Lord beyond polemic. It endures because of its sincerity and because it speaks to something universal, humanity's longing for peace. George Harrison may not have been the most vocal, the most prolific, or the most controversial Beatle, but in his quiet resolve, he built a solo catalog that is honest, courageous, and timeless. The post-Beatles creative explosion was not merely a vindication, it was liberation. And through these songs, Harrison finally spoke in a voice that was fully his own.